first day I went in for chemo was actually my 19th birthday, March 8th, whenever that was. I'm 30 now, and so the rounds of chemo I did is I had to be in the hospital under 24 hours supervision because the type of chemo I had was just really strong, and they needed to keep an eye on me.
And what do they do during chemo?
Yeah, so I
always hear the term. I don't know.
Yeah, it's literally just a bag of. It looks like water. Some of them kind of look like Gatorade. They might
just
be
a bag
blue.
of fluid?
Just a bag of fluids, yeah. I remember the first time they gave it to me, I was like tensing up. I'm like, what's going to happen? And then they started the chemo, and it just felt like an IV drip, And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so
they didn't put you under a giant like thing. Like I always imagine chemo being like when you get a CAT scan and they just turn on a machine. They do radiation.
Oh,
that's radiation. Okay, gotcha.
And thank God I didn't need to do that. They did do an MRI on my brain, and they were going to say, if you have it in your brain, one, that's really bad, especially for testicular cancer. And then I would have to do radiation to shrink the tumors in my brain because the chemo is liquid and it can't cross the blood-brain barrier.
Got it.
So, and that was like the one time I was really scared of, because I thought, I was like, oh crap, I think I got tumors in my brain, because the months leading up before, I would get these really weird tunnel vision headaches where all my peripheral vision would just go black, and like, it was so weird. And so I thought, I would see all these like swirly little things. And so I thought, I'm like, oh crap, I think I got tumors in my brain. Maybe that's what it is. But then I did the MRI, and thank God I didn't have anything in my brain. So all I did was liquid chemo. Like I said, I would have to go to the hospital. It wasn't like the movies where you see people like go to a place, sit in a recliner, and then like get to leave. Now they do have those places, and I have done chemo bags like that before, but a lot of the times cancer patients have to be in the hospital, and you got to be in the hospital. I would have to be in the hospital for a week, 7 days, and then every 24 hours do, a certain cycle of chemo. And my doctor, Dr. Pahlawi, actually talked to the doctor who cured Lance Armstrong.
Wow.
Yeah, his name's Dr. Einhorn, and it's pretty awesome. Before Lance Armstrong, there wasn't really the chemo that we had today. And when Lance Armstrong got testicular cancer, this certain doctor, Dr. Einhorn, really put his brain together and was like, what can cure this disease? Because before it was just, oh, you're done. Have you ever seen the film Brian's Song?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's a really old school reference. I don't think anyone would know, but it's about two football players in the 70s, and one gets testicular cancer, ends up dying. It's a classic sports movie. But Dr. Einhorn, before that, it was a death sentence, and then since Lance Armstrong was such a celebrity and such a great athlete, he put his head together and came up with the recipes and the cocktails of these certain chemos. So my doctor got to talk directly to him and be like, what does he need? No, he needs cisplatin, blah, 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 all these certain things.
That's crazy. So it took Lance Armstrong getting it for people to really... that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't really know that.
God works in mysterious ways. Yeah. He's like, if that's what I have to do to make a difference, that's crazy. Yeah.
And so I did all my first 4 rounds of chemo.
So you do 4 rounds, so you have a week in the hospital for each round?
In the hospital,
and then how much time off?
2 weeks off.
Okay.
Because after the chemo, the worst part about chemo for me was getting off the chemo, was when they send you home, and those next 48 hours you're not sleeping, and your body is just, you can't eat because you literally taste chemicals.
Oh, so you're just sitting there just awake.
Yeah, if you want to know what chemo feels like, and I mean, don't do this, but drink a glass of Windex and then keep it down in your stomach long enough to where your stomach absorbs it. I mean, obviously you would just throw it up, but if your stomach absorbed it and you could kind of feel it in your gut, that's kind of what
really
chemo feels like.
Wow.
Like your tongue even tastes like chemicals. It's just like, but you know, they give you medicine in there that does help, and they'll give you stuff to sleep. And I slept all day basically because at night the hospital that's when there's so much noise in the hospital at night. Machines are beeping, and you know, someone go, you know, there'll be a code, and there's a couple like stolen baby codes. That was kind of crazy. And yeah, the hospital is really weird at night for sure. And I was like kind of stuck there because I had to be on an IV 24/7, so I couldn't leave my little room.
So you couldn't leave in between the chemo?
Yeah, sorry. When I was in the hospital at
during
chemo,
got it.
I would just stay in the room, and then I would go home for 2 weeks, and then come back. So I did that 4 times. And the first round of chemo actually eliminated 95% of all my cancer.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy.
When did you get that news? How soon after?
When I was in the middle of my second round, my doctor came in, Dr. Palawi, and was like, dude, Peter, this is crazy. Like 95% of your tumor markers went down. And tumor markers is some way they measure it with testicular cancer. I don't know what it is, but in guys, you're supposed to have less than 1, and I had 100,000 of whatever it was. And actually, the way they test for testicular cancer is they test to see if you're pregnant. So for some reason, if you get testicular cancer, your body starts to produce these things called like alpha feto something. I'm not sure, but they're these cells that get produced in women when they're pregnant.
Really?
Yeah. So, because, you know, guys, we all have estrogen and stuff like that. We all have a little bit of women's hormones too, but you're not supposed to have a lot. So with testicular cancer, for some reason, your body starts not estrogen, but this one stuff that will say you're pregnant. So if I peed on a pregnant test, it would say you're pregnant. You know, so that was that's kind of a cool, or not cool, but
interesting fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact about testicular cancer.